What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back, Game Changers, guys. NFL predictions 2022-2023 season. I don't even know if they count the 2023 as it's just the Super Bowl after it. So, but guys, we're excited. We're back. It's been a minute since we've done NFL predictions. We're all excited for this season. We got our fantasy teams picked, and we're just ready to rock and roll. So, in this video, we're going to do predictions of how the divisions are going to shape up going into the playoffs. So we're just going to pick each team from each division. So we're going to get right into it. So the first one is NFC East. For me, I got the Eagles. Might be a shock for some people, but I got the Eagles. I think they, over the past two drafts, have really improved. And I think Dallas, who has pretty much run that division over the past few years, have taken a step back. They lost Amari Cooper, and their line is just falling apart. I heard today they just signed Jason Peters, who's like 108 years old, so that's probably not a good sign. So, all right, Nick, who do you got?
All right, well, with me being a Giants fan, this is really sacrilegious for me to say, but I have to be objective here. I am going to go with the Eagles because another thing to keep in mind, too, is an NFC East team has not repeated in such a long time. It was always a different team each time, and the last year, it was the Cowboys that won it. Yep. So it's like if you're going by history, which the past, 5-10 years or whatever, it's like you would think that the Eagles would win. And not only that, but what they did with the addition of A.J. Brown, I think speaks volume of what this Eagles offense is going to look like. I think he's really going to help Jalen Hurts and his confidence. And I think as well, their defense is a lot of people don't give them enough credit because of the division that they're in, but I think their defense can really put them over the top. And I definitely think the Eagles are going to win the division, and they're going to just beat the Washington and the Giants, and I think they'll also beat the Cowboys as well. I think they're going to win the division.
100%. What do you got, Matt?
This one's a tough one. I know this division is always kind of up in the air. Kind of like a surprise pick.
Here we go.
I'm going to go with the Commanders in this one.
Oh, look out.
I love it. Yeah, I don't know. It's really a toss-up. I think the only team that's probably out of it is kind of the Giants. So it's kind of a three-team race, in my opinion.
I agree 100%.
There are a lot of unknowns in this division. Like you said, the depleted line on Dallas. Philly, they have a lot of new pieces coming in. You got to see how they mesh and everything. Kind of the same thing with the Commanders. A lot of new people. I really like their defense. I think they'll have a good year on defense. I think that's going to kind of be the tiebreaker ultimately.
Yeah.
They have, again, a lot of things kind of going against them. I just got a feeling. I don't know, honestly. I think Carson Wentz is going to have a good comeback year.
I was going to say. You got to have confidence in Carson Wentz for that pick to come to fruition.
Yeah,
so.
That's the best example of heart over head.
Yeah, 100%. So, but listen, and we want to welcome Matt. He's a newcomer. It makes M&Ms. Let's go. So, guys, real quick too, the Eagles. A lot of people get tripped up because of Jalen Hurts, but if you look at a lot of the pieces that they're putting together, their team is very solid. And there's been a lot of sneaky just pickups and trades and things of that nature. I forget the guy's name, but the guy from the Saints that came over, he's going to get plugged into starting right off the rip. So, yeah, NFC East, it's fun because it's kind of up for grabs. All right, we're going to move over to the NFC North. NFC North, I'm picking the Packers. They pretty much have run that division. Now, this year, I think is going to be a little bit more interesting. They lost, obviously, Devontae Adams. I think he's the best wide receiver in the league. Aaron Rodgers is getting older. And it's hard to maintain for so long and then also not get to that next level in the playoffs. It starts playing a thing on your mental. So, I'm picking the Packers, but I'm not 100% confident in it. Nick, who do you got?
For me, I would say I would give the edge to the Packers, and it's not just because of what they could do on offense, but also their defense is really good too, especially against the pass. So it's a really tough division. I think it's going to be offensive fireworks in that division. It's like the Lions got better. Justin Fields looks like he's getting better, especially in the preseason. And then you look at the Vikings with the new head coach of Kevin O'Connell. I think they're going to make a big run on offense as well. And then obviously you have the Packers. So I'm definitely looking this is like an offensive juggernaut of a division. But what I will give the Packers over the edge is not just with their offense, but their defense as well. Yeah. So for this one, I would give it to the Packers. But I would not be shocked if, let's say, a team like the Vikings happened to come through.
Yeah. Did you just call the Lions an offensive force?
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. That was the word. Juggernaut.
Hey, listen.
That's on tape. That's on tape, guys. We're gonna run that back after the season.
I always have to give hot takes, so it's like there's my one.
That's the hottest.
You might get another one.
Yeah, there we go. Matt, what do you got?
Bears seem like kind of a mess. I think they're out of it. And then I don't know. It just becomes it becomes kind of a two-team race in my opinion. I think it's definitely between Green Bay and Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit's not far behind. I think they're going to be kind of sneaky this year, like a 7-win team or so.
Yeah.
But not quite playoff level. Maybe a 7-10 record, something like that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Kirk Cousins has been playing really under the radar. He was an MVP candidate about halfway through the year last season. He's not far behind Rodgers, but I don't know. It's hard to pick against Rodgers with Jair Alexander coming back on defense. I think they have a lot of good pieces that are also like sneaky. They have a couple guys everywhere. You're gonna have Jones, you're gonna have Dillon in the backfield.
Yeah. You
lose Devontae Adams, but I don't know. Rodgers honestly makes everyone that he's ever thrown to, I think, in my opinion. So someone's gonna be a star this year on that offense. So I think the Packers will win the division either by one game or maybe they'll just win it by like a tiebreaker sort of thing. But
100%.
I'll take Green Bay overall.
Yeah. I like Green Bay too because they draft Christian Watson and he's going through all these injuries and stuff, but then Romeo Doubs steps up. You know what I mean? So they have options. And then people forget about Robert Tonyan, not last year, but the year before. I think he had like 13 touchdown receptions or something like that. Yeah. So he's going to come back. It's going to take him a little bit of time, but he's going to come back. He's going to be a weapon. So I agree. And I think consistency and having the same coaches is definitely going to help out. Like Matt brought up, the Bears are kind of a mess right now. The Lions are getting better, but you're not going to make this huge leap from last year to this year. And then the Vikings having a new coach come in, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to that. So I agree. I think Packers in this division. Was that all three of us?
All three of us.
Unanimous.
There we go. Right. Unanimous. Let's go. All right, NFC South. We're moving on to the NFC South. I got the Bucs still. It's very hard to pick against TB12. I've done it over the years, and it'll always come back to bite me in the butt. So I don't care if he's 84 years old. I'm still picking Tom Brady and the Bucs. The only concern I have, and I hope this doesn't come to fruition, but the interior line is falling apart on that team. Tom Brady can't really move that well. I can see him potentially getting injured this year. I hope it doesn't happen. He's getting older too. I hope, like I said, I don't want to see anybody get injured, but I hope that doesn't happen. With that being said, I still got the Bucs top of the division. I only see the Saints challenging them in the division, but as of now, I got Bucs in the head. Nick, who do you got?
Same thing. I got the Bucs, but at the same time, it's not as confident as I think it's going to be. And the reason being is because it's like what you said, what's going on with the team, with the offensive line and everything. But with everything that's coming out now with Tom Brady in his personal life, I think it's going to take a big hit on him mentally, because football is not just a physical game, it's also a mental game, which Tom Brady has mastered better than anybody else in history. Yeah. But it's like with what's going on with his wife and stuff, you could tell in like interviews and all that other stuff that he's doing, it's like you could tell he's bothered by it. Yeah. So it's like, I don't think it's going to take like, where he falls off a cliff, like Max Kellerman says.
He's too good.
He's too good, yeah. But is he going to have like an MVP season? No, I don't know about that. But I still think they're going to do enough to win a division, because the only team I see challenging them is the Saints. Yeah. But at the same time, I think the Bucs are going to take it. And I also don't think they're going to be like a top 2 team. I think they're going to be like a mid tier, like let's say 3 or 4, because like they're not going to be as dominant as they were. Yeah. But like I said, I think this is Brady's last year. It's going to be interesting if he wins the whole thing under these circumstances. If it does, you can't say anything on like you can't deny that he's the greatest.
Yeah, I'll say this. I still have, I still struggle with this, because Tom Brady is so great. He's obviously the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion. But I still have Jerry Rice as the greatest football player of all time. But, like you said, if Tom Brady wins this year, it's hands down. I don't think anybody can argue with it. Just with everything that's going on off the field as well, it's bonkers. So, Matt, who do you got?
A couple of potential like feel-good stories. I want to see Baker Mayfield do well.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they're a playoff team.
No.
I wish them well. I think Cleveland kind of did them wrong. I think he's going to come out and destroy them week 1, but I think their momentum's going to die down. Same thing with Atlanta. I want to see. I like Mariota a lot.
I like Mariota.
I hope he does well. I hope those teams do well. I just don't see them as playoff teams. Yeah. I can see the Saints winning like 11 games this year. Honestly, they have a really good team. It's under the radar. Like Jameis had like a 14-3 touchdown interception ratio last year before he got hurt. So I don't know. Hopefully he's like throwing dots and everything. We'll see.
Not old Jameis, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, I think it comes down to those two. I'll give the Bucs the edge, honestly. I think they just ultimately, they've always been like a middle of the pack team until Brady came in and then kind of turned them into a juggernaut, into a playoff team. Godwin's hurt, Evans is getting older, but Julio Jones, I hope he does well also. Yeah. I think he could have like a crazy revenge game at some point this year when they play the Falcons, but Yeah, I mean, I'd say the Bucs win about 12 games or so. I'd pick them in this division.
Very nice. I love it. I love it. So I actually had the opportunity to go to Bucs training camp, and Julio Jones looks good. If his hammies don't get pulled, I feel like every year he pulls a hammy, he's gonna be scary. He looked big, and he looked fast. So it's gonna be wild. So we all pick Bucs again. We're just
It's unanimous.
yeah, it's just unanimous.
I swear we didn't talk about this before.
We did not. We did not. We come in. It's fresh every single time. All right. So NFC West, this division was stacked last year. I think they take a little bit of a hit, but I still think it's going to be pretty impressive. For me, again, I got the Super Bowl champs on top. My only concern is there's things coming out of camp that Matthew Stafford's elbow has been bothering him, and it's going to be a year-long thing. Even with that, I still think they come out on top. Again, they're a juggernaut team, and in my opinion, I think they got better in the offseason, which is crazy to think. And apparently this is the only team in the NFL that does not have a salary cap. I don't know how they signed the people they signed, but added Bobby Wagner, Allen Robinson, and there's just a few other players too that they've added. And it's just insane. So I got the Rams. What do you got, Nick?
I got to go with the Rams as well because it's really tough to pick against a Super Bowl winning team, especially since what did they really do in the offseason to change their roster and stuff. So it's like if something ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And I look at the other teams and I'm like, did they really get better? Because it's like you look at the Niners, you have Trey Lance, he's new. We don't know how he's going to do, how he's going to mesh well with his new team.
Yep.
The Cardinals, we don't know how much of a hit they're going to take with D-Hop out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And also Kyler Murray, we're going to see how good he is and stuff. In Seattle, I'm not even going to talk about them. So based on all those things alone, it's by default I have to go with the Rams.
Yeah, 100%. What do you got, Matt?
The Seahawks, you lose a bunch of big pieces. You swap quarterbacks with Denver. They're kind of a mess right now.
Yeah.
They just signed DK, so he's there for the long haul. I don't think they're competing in this division. I think it's a 3-team race.
Yeah.
The Niners, for whatever reason, Niners have been one game away, one pass away from. Honestly, over the last decade, they could have almost 5 Super Bowls at this point.
It's crazy.
If the ball
Crazy.
went to the right spot for them. They're just one play away. They're kind of a question mark. I hope Trey Lance does really well. It's just hard to pick them right now. So I think it's kind of a 2-team race. Arizona, they always seem to start off really well, especially the last couple of years. They were 7-0 last season. They were the number 1 seed, and then they just kind of fell off a cliff.
Yep.
They didn't make they made the playoffs, but they got destroyed by the Rams with the wild card, I think,
It was the wild card. Yeah.
playing. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, all that being said, the Rams are still looking good on paper. To have still an elite defender at each of the 3 levels on defense. To have Aaron Donald, who did come back and retire. You got Bobby Wagner, who's a very underrated pickup. I think he was the heart of the defense. The Legion of Boom didn't go without him. That's a secondary nickname, but he was still the leader of that defense.
I agree.
And then Jalen Ramsey's still locking people up. So they're so talented. It's hard to not pick them. So I'll make it 3. I'll pick the Rams here too.
Does anybody know who their backup quarterback is?
John Wolford. Is he still with them? I don't know if it's.
I think he might be right. So that's going to be interesting too. If Matt Stafford actually blows his elbow or whatever it may be, with the talent that team has, they're going to have to pick up. And I don't even know who's out there. Maybe a trade for Gardner Minshew or something like that. Yeah. But I don't even know if that would make sense because he's not a proven quarterback. You know what I mean? In a sense he is, but he's young and. When you have a team of that caliber, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think around the league
Cam
what.
Newton maybe or he's out there.
He is out. I would definitely pick Gardner Minshew over.
Yeah.
Picture Cam Newton throwing to Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
That would just be hilarious. I don't know. So. All right, NFC West. We're all unanimous again. We all picked the Rams. So guys, that's the whole NFC. We just wrapped that up. Now we're going into the AFC. First one is going to be the AFC East. I think, in my opinion, this is probably the easiest division to pick. But there are going to be some surprising teams, in my opinion. First off, I'm going with the Bills. The Bills just continue to get better. Josh Allen is just getting better and better and better. Last year, he did everything you could ask for him to do in the playoffs. The defense failed him. So I got the Bills, and I think they run away with the division. But I still think there's going to be some close games. Divisional games are always pretty close. I did want to talk up the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are just built with speed. And speed's going to kill this year. Tua looks great in this new offense. Obviously, it's a little bit different from training camp and preseason. We'll see how it does in the actual regular season. But I got the Dolphins finished in second. The Pats drop a little bit, and then we won't even talk about the Jets. They got all their issues. But anyway, I got the Bills leading this division. Nick, who do you got?
Same thing. I got to go with the Bills because, I mean, it's really tough to pick another team. I mean, I could see the Dolphins making like a run, but not enough to win the division.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots, it's like now, ever since Brady's departure, I see them as like a mid-ranked team in terms of like they're not really like explosive on offense. I mean, they do good on defense, especially last year with the first game against the Bills. I think the final score was like 14-10.
Yeah.
So it's like the Patriots can do things on defense, but not that much on offense. And the Jets, I'm not even going to talk about them as well. So, but yeah, no, the Bills. I think Josh Allen is going to have. I think it's going to be between him and Justin Herbert as the two quarterbacks that are going to fight for MVP this year.
Listen, you're blowing it. We got to wait till the end.
Hey, listen here. I got to talk it up here.
He's cheating it up right now. Here we go.
Yeah, so I got to go with the Bills, and also their pickup of Von Miller. I think it's an underrated pickup. I think he's gonna really be disruptive on the defensive line. So with that alone, I have to go with the Bills.
And that was one of the biggest weaknesses last year was they didn't really pressure the quarterback. So to add Von Miller to an already stacked team, I forget what analyst it was, but he said it perfectly. He said, if the Bills didn't have any draft picks and they didn't make any moves in the offseason, they still would have been a Super Bowl contender. So to be able to add James Cook, Von Miller, and there's other pieces as well, look out. They're going to be scary this year. So, Matt, who do you got?
I got the Bills too. I think they're just.
I thought you were going to go Jets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Jets, they would need everyone that's young to be just about perfect. You got Wilson. Well, you got two Wilson. You got Zach Wilson. You got Garrett Wilson. You have Breece Hall. You have all these like young guys. Sauce Gardner. They picked all these. They had a really great draft. At least from a value standpoint, they had a lot of good picks. Corey Davis will be coming back on offense. You got C.J. Uzomah on offense as well. C.J. Mosley should be coming back. I don't know. I don't think the Jets have enough though to compete with any other teams in this division. New England, it's hard to tell where they're at currently. They after being like probably the best team in football for the last like 20 years or so, they just kind of fallen not quite off the cliff. They're like middle of the pack team.
Agreed.
I could see them winning maybe 8 or 9 games again. Who knows? But they'd really have to put it together. It's hard to get a good read on how Mac Jones is as a quarterback yet. Yeah. A lot of these QBs, you see them in their second season, and you got 2 QBs in this division. This is their second year, so you never know. Like some of these guys break out of nowhere, have a crazy season. Like Burrow last year had a really awesome year.
Yeah.
But I don't really see that in Mac Jones. And then I really like Miami too. I think Teron Armstead at left tackle is huge.
It's a great point.
It's like an elite left tackle protecting a left-handed quarterback, like that sort of thing. That's huge. Tua typically he's going to roll out to his left. So that's if that side's protected, he's got a good chance there. Like you said, they have a ton of speed. They have a lot of guys on defense that are really underrated. They have Xavier Howard at corner. Like they have a good duo there, Byron Jones. I don't think they have quite enough though. I think maybe a 10-win season for them. But the Bills, they could win 13, 14 games.
It's crazy.
So
yeah.
They just having possibly the number 1 defense again in the NFL with everyone they have on offense too. It's hard to pick against them.
100%.
So yeah.
I'm a Tua lover. I'm going to talk him up real quick too because Matt brought up a good point. Their offensive line against the pass over the or when they're passing the ball over the past 2 years, I think has ranked the lowest in the NFL. So everybody's real hard on Tua, but we got to understand that the offensive line is so important in football. And when you have stats like that, it could be Aaron Rodgers back there. Obviously, he's going to do a little bit better, but it's so tough to have a young quarterback behind a crappy line like that to perform. So now he has no excuse. Let's see how he does this year. And that's what I'm super excited about. And I think a lot of the football world is excited to see what the Dolphins do this year with all the weapons that they have. So, all right, we're going to move to AFC South. For me, it's going to be a switch this year. I got the Colts. I got the Colts at the top, and it kind of reminds me of the NFC East because the Colts, in my opinion, got better, and the Titans got worse. Derrick Henry, he's just getting older, and there's wear and tear on the body. He showed injury last year, and I think he's just going to be beat up this year. I think them picking up Haskins was a good idea, but he didn't really do anything in the preseason, so we'll see if there's depth in the running back position. Them losing A.J. Brown was huge, and Tannehill, I think, already has hit his peak. I think it's going to be the Malik Willis show sometime later in the season because I just don't think they're going to do too hot. So now let me talk about the Colts. I think the Colts picking up Matt Ryan. Carson Wentz's numbers actually last year were not that bad, so they threw a lot of heat at him. I think it was more of the behind-the-scenes stuff. A lot of people say that he's not that good of a leader and things of that nature. And then obviously him blowing one against the Jaguars to miss the playoffs was huge. I think Matt Ryan will do a little bit better in that field. I don't think there'll be, stat-wise, I don't think there'll be much of a difference. But I think like leadership and just making the right plays at the right time and things of that nature, I think Matt Ryan might be able to get him over the hump. So, Nick, who do you got?
As well, I got the Colts because just by the way you look at the division, it's like, look at the bottom two teams. You have the Texans, and they're not like dead in the water. It's like Davis Mills looks like he's could be like an up and coming quarterback, and then you have the Jaguars who have Trevor Lawrence, and looks like he might have an upcoming season, but they're definitely not going to overtake who I think the Titans and the Colts. The Titans, they did win. They were number 1 overall last year, and that was without AJ Brown, and that was while Derrick Henry was hurt.
Yeah.
So it's like you can definitely see the Titans making a run and stuff, but it's like I just think like the disappearance of AJ Brown and like Derrick Henry coming off the injury, like I don't think it's gonna impact the season in terms like I don't think he's gonna have a bad season. I think he's gonna have a good season, but I don't think he's gonna be like King Henry where it was like he was like just destroying people, like trucking people every time and stuff like that. Like he's really the only guy right now because Traylon Burks, we don't know until
he had one good preseason game.
Yeah, he had one good preseason game. We don't know when he's gonna become the guy. Right now, Derrick Henry's the guy, and if all you're getting the ball to is Derrick Henry, you're going to have all 11 guys pounce on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Colts, I would say the addition of Matt Ryan definitely helps. I think they're going to be looking to pass the ball, like when you look at guys like Michael Pittman and stuff, but Jonathan Taylor, he's the best running back right now. Yeah. It's like he's number 1 off the boards for everybody in fantasy. Yeah. So it's like, and also their defense, I would say, is good in terms of like they have to play within the division 6 times and stuff, which is pretty easy. So you look at all that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so you look at all that, and I say the Colts, I can see them winning like maybe 11 games, I would say. So 10, 11 games. So I think that's going to be enough for them to overtake the division.
Yeah, 100%. Who you got, Matt?
I think 10 or 11 games, like Nick just said, I think that wins this division. This is a really weak division overall. I think Jacksonville's going to shock some people, though. I think they're actually going to be competitive. I like ETN coming back, I like some of the pieces they've added. Yeah. Overall, Lawrence should have a pretty decent season. He wasn't very great last year, but you know this is his time to blossom. Yeah. Houston, I don't know. It's really hard to get a read on Houston. They just, I don't know, like no big names necessarily. You don't need that all the time, but they're just a huge question mark to me. Maybe like 5 or 6 wins for them. Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, it's hard to pick against Indy. I really like the Titans defense though. I like Jeffrey Simmons in the middle, and then you got Kevin Byard. As these guys are consistently all pros the last couple of years. Like they're just anchoring that defense, and they're looking really good. I think King Henry is still that guy though. I could see him.
He's not Prince Henry. He's still King Henry.
No, he's still King Henry to me. Yeah, I think I don't know. I could see him leading league in rushing again. I have no reason to think he's not gonna just ball out as always. But I still take the Colts overall. I think the Colts might have Defensive Player of the Year this year, possibly with Darius Leonard. Shaquille Leonard, I guess now is his name. But
I saw that he changed his name.
I was like, changed his name now.
So yeah, I mean, I think both of them. It's kind of a 3-team race to me. But yeah, whoever gets to like 10 games first probably win it. I don't think anyone's gonna run away with it.
I love it.
But I'll take Colts.
I love how Matt comes in and now he's picking every pick that we have, but right off the rip he comes in with the shocker with the Commanders. I love it. Bold in the beginning. So want to talk about the Jags too because. Trevor Lawrence, he comes in with Urban Meyer, and that was just a mess. And now he's got a coach that's good. He's won a Super Bowl before. And I like the way he calls offensive plays and stuff like that. And there's something to be said when you have your running back that you've had for all those years in Clemson with you and that safety back. So to have that, I think they're going to make a big leap this year. I still don't think they're going to be – I still think they're going to finish 3rd in the division. But just overall, we're going to see a lot of progress, I think, in my opinion. So. All right, now we're going to move on to the NFC North. These last 2 divisions are incredible. I'm super excited. So, AFC North, for me, it's tight. The top 2, for me, in my opinion, are tight. I'm still going to go with the Bengals, and the reason why is because they made that deep run last year. Joe Burrow's just got it. As much as I don't like him, he's, and I don't know why I keep saying in my videos, but there's just something about him. But anyway, he's got that it factor, and their team just got better. They had a really good draft as well. And if you look at their roster, they're great players on offense are all young. It's crazy to think Joe Mixon is only, 25, 26? Feels like he's been in the league for 10 years, which is crazy. So for me, I still got the Bengals on top, but the Ravens are right there. They're going back to when Lamar had his MVP season. At first, I was like, what are they doing? Getting rid of Hollywood Brown. And people were like, can Bateman do it by himself? But people got to remember that Mark Andrews is the first receiver, even though he's a tight end. He's the first option. And now this likely guy is popping out of nowhere. So I think they're going to be just fine. J.K. Dobbins is going to come back. He's going to ball out. I love that guy. So I got still the Bengals, but I think the Ravens are going to be right on their tail. Nick, who do you got?
All right, so for this one, like I said, it's like a two-team race. It's so tough.
Here we go.
But you know what? I have to say the Browns.
He's
I think
lying.
the Browns.
He's lying.
Yeah. Hey, listen, like they signed Deshaun Watson, and it's like he'll be back, and he's gonna take him over the top when he comes back. But not
last 3 games of the year.
Last 3 games of the year. Hey, remember the first game is against the Texans. That's saying something.
There you go.
It's fate. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. So in all realness, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the Bengals because. You look at what they did last year with the team that they had. The only issue that they had last year was their offensive line. And what did they do? They fixed their offensive line. So it's like now we're going to be seeing like what Joe Mixon's going to do, what Joe Burrow's going to do with how much time that he has. And I believe they signed Hayden Hurst as well for tight end.
Yeah.
So he's in the mix of this passing entourage as well. So and obviously Jamar Chase. Look at the season that he had. He won Rookie of the Year, but he also had one of the best rookie seasons for a receiver. I believe he overtook Justin Jefferson for the most yards of all time, and he helped me win one of my fantasy leagues last year. So I'm like, please give the ball to this dude.
This man's all about fantasy. Look at that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we also got to remember too that they had 1 extra game, so it's kind of it's one of those stats where cool, but did you really do it? So
well, he didn't really do that much in the last game anyway. So
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, so I didn't really see that much change except for a positive, which was the offensive line. The Ravens, like Lamar missing a few of those games, I think really hurt the Ravens, especially with their playoff chances, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, their last game of the year was against the Steelers, and I think Lamar did not play in that game.
No, he didn't play you would know. You got the Ravens.
Yeah, it was Huntley.
So it's like if Lamar would have played that game, I think they probably would have won that game and would have possibly made the playoffs. So I think Lamar really needs to play healthy for the season in order for him to put the Ravens up top, because I think the Ravens can compete against the Bengals. The Steelers, now that they don't have Big Ben no more, they're in a new era basically. So it's tough for me to pick them with the new pieces that they have. So I mean, it's going to be tough for me to pick the Steelers. So as of right now, I would have to say the Bengals.
Who do you got, Matt?
Sounds biased, but I mean, I got I have reasons.
He's got to pick him. He's got the jersey on.
I don't know. Ravens were 8-3 last year before Lamar got hurt, and I don't think the Bengals are that great of a team. Honestly, I know I think it was a Cinderella story for them, like a one-time thing that just kind of happened.
Definitely sick.
I have nothing against them necessarily. They did, they fixed their line, they fixed a couple spots and everything, but. I don't know. It's hard to not to pick against Baltimore, just given you have an MVP quarterback that missed close to half the year. Our secondary was absolutely decimated with all these guys on IR. J.K. Dobbins was on IR, running back. Our top 2 guys.
Their running back room was a mess.
Yeah, Edward, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, both out for the year. So we're signing guys that were good 8 years ago. Davion Bell, we had Devontae Freeman. These guys that are kind of lost, and so that's a factor. Trading Hollywood Brown, I think, was a great move. I don't think he was ever that great with us. He had a good fantasy season last year, I guess, but he would have had an amazing year if he could catch the ball consistently. So,
he's Kyler Murray's problem now.
Yeah, in a way, he's Murray's problem now. The Ravens secondary too is, assuming no one gets hurt, I think the best in the NFL. Kyle Hamilton.
What a pickup.
Marcus, they just getting him at 14th in the draft. Marcus Williams at the other safety. Chuck Clark's probably on his way out, but you have Humphrey, you have Peters, you have just so much talent on defense. I do like the Browns too. The Browns have a pretty good roster overall. I'm nothing against them. I think their defense, especially on paper, is amazing. They have so many big names, and on offense, they have a lot of stuff going for them too. You have possibly the best running back in the league with Nick Chubb. You have Amari Cooper out there. They just have to put it all together. Honestly, I think they'll be a good team. It's hard to pick them though. The Steelers are a little bit of an unknown to me. They have some great pieces as well. This division is very competitive, in my opinion. But I see Baltimore winning 12, 13 games this year. And
love it.
I don't know. I kind of see the Bengals and the Browns finishing around the same area.
Oh man, picking the Browns. Where are you from, Matt?
Cleveland.
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
There it is. I love it. Repping. So.
Another thing too to keep in mind is Mike Tomlin. I think this is going to be his first season without Big Ben.
Yeah.
And for every season that he's coached, he has not coached under 500. With how crazy the division is this year, this will be the first time that he finishes under 500. I think that's good. My eyes are going to be on the Steelers in terms of how they're going to do with season-wise with the coaching and all.
And how long is Trubinsky going to be the starter? Because Kenny Pickett looked real good.
Pickett looks good
in preseason. But again, preseason is definitely different from, especially if he's going up against the second or the third stringers. It's kind of easy to do. I shouldn't say kind of easy, but it's easier to do than against the first string. So we'll see. That's going to be a fun again, AFC North is going to be fun to watch, but it's going to be nothing compared to the AFC West. This is just complete juggernauts. I'm super pumped for this. So this division, I can literally see any of these teams pulling it off, and I wouldn't be shocked. And this is the reason why I picked this team. I picked the Chiefs to win, and this is the reason why. In football, especially the trends that we're going, your quarterback is super important. And you're never going to win a Super Bowl if you don't have that elite quarterback, in my opinion. You look at the past Super Bowl winners and things of that nature. I think the last one that I can think of is maybe Joe Flacco back in, you would know what year was that?
2012, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. And he even balled out in those playoffs. So I think he threw 11 touchdown passes, no picks.
11-0.
So I mean, he just found a stride, I guess. But Patrick Mahomes is so hard to pick against. Even though they lost Tyreek Hill, they get Sky Moore. And they bring in a bunch of different weapons as well. This is probably the hardest pick for me because I'm going with my heart probably more than my head. But we'll see. Like I said, the Chiefs they're the Chiefs. They've been amazing over the past few years. I'm going to go down the list on this one because this is just an amazing division. Second, this might be a shocker, but I got the Broncos. And the reason why I had the Broncos finishing second is you take Russ Wilson, who won a Super Bowl, almost won another one, and Denver's big problem was they didn't have a quarterback. Everything else was set in stone. I think their wide receivers were great. They just didn't have anybody throwing to them. Their running backs are great, and their defense is great. So they have all these pieces. Now let's see if Russ can just come in and kind of did what Tom Brady did when he went to Tampa. I'm not saying he's going to go to the Super Bowl and things of that nature, but I think it's a huge upgrade, and they're going to turn it around. Third, I have the Chargers. A lot of people are big on the Chargers, but they haven't made the playoffs yet with Justin Herbert. So I think until he makes that next step, I'm all in. I think he has the talent and all that, but there's something to be said with you can have all the talent in the world, but you got to win. You got to make it into those next rounds. So I got Chargers third. And then the Raiders, I hate putting them fourth because Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, I think they're going to wreak havoc on the quarterback. And then, obviously, adding Devontae Adams, Derek Carr's old, is it? Yeah, David's the old one. Yeah. I always get Derek and David mixed up. But Derek Carr, it was his old weapon, and they have some ridiculous numbers in college. So, like I said, these four could be interchangeable. It's going to be so much fun to watch. But I got the Chiefs still on top in that division. Nick, who do you got?
All right, so before we go any further, I have a question for you. Would you say Nick Foles is elite?
Nick Foles?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles back in 2017, so he was like, oh, you can't win.
Touche.
Like, there we go.
He was elite in that Super Bowl, though.
He was
I will
elite
say
in the
that.
Super Bowl, but
that man balled out.
Brady's better.
Oh,
yeah. Brady is better, 100%.
Absolutely. I just wanted to get that.
No, that's great. That's great. Great call.
All right, so for this one, I had to go back and forth with this one. I definitely think this is going to be a different pick for all of us for this division in particular, and not just us, but like so many different people are going to pick different teams for different reasons. So this is the way I have it. I'm going to go fourth to first. Fourth,
look at this guy.
I have
Drum roll, please.
Yes, I have to go the Raiders last, and I think they're going to do great against the other teams. The issue is the division that they're in. I think if they were in a team like the AFC South, they would just blow the water off of all the teams there. Maybe the Colts would give them a run, but it's like if the Raiders were in any other division, I think they would take it. Yeah. But because of the division that they're in, with the competitiveness of that division, like with the addition of Devontae Adams and their defense, I think they're a great team. The issue is the division that they're in. Yeah. So just by that alone, I have to put them in fourth. Third, I would have to put Denver at third, and the reason being is because sure, Russell Wilson's a great quarterback, but how is he going to do with this new team? Mm-hmm. It's like, they had all the pieces in the world, but they had like Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback last year, so obviously it's an upgrade from there.
Teddy two gloves, right?
Yeah, and then Drew Lock as well. Mm-hmm. So they had they had both quarterbacks there, but now they have Russell Wilson. It's definitely an upgrade. Yeah. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, are they going to be able to compete against the other teams like the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders? I think they're just going to be massive shootouts. So is Russ Wilson going to be able to keep up with this new team? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Fair. So for that, I would put him at third. Now, I'm not going to go second or first because I'm just going to
Who's first? Who's first, Nicholas?
I got to say the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to overtake it because They put some new pieces on defense with like Khalil Mack and stuff. So,
Sure, I forgot about that.
so I think their defense is going to improve. And Justin
Bosa,
Herbert,
yeah, him and Bosa. Oh,
yeah, him and Bosa together, they're going to mess up whether it's going to be Mahomes, Wilson, or Carr. It's
Bosa
like,
needs to stay healthy though. That man's out like every.
Well, I think that's why they got Khalil Mack for like
100%.
some insurance there. But Justin Herbert, I said in the previous division that we talked about, I think he's going to be running for an MVP candidate this year. So with the pieces that he has with like Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams is starting to get better and stuff. So
for the first 4 games.
for the
Maybe
first,
six.
well, no, I mean he is a streaky player, so it's like we'll see. All he has to do is like go and then
Just
just
even
give
it
the
out.
ball to Keenan Allen from there. But I think Justin Herbert's going to have an MVP season. And then for the Chiefs, I think Mahomes. Obviously, he's an elite quarterback. Like there's no denying that he's top 5 right now. But the thing though is, I think now that like Tyreek Hill's not there anymore. Obviously, Travis Kelce's going to be the guy, but how he's going to mesh well with these new receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's got a bunch of new receivers that he has to mess with. So I think Mahomes will be able to make it work, but will it be able to put him over the top?
Yeah.
Is my question. Is like obviously Travis Kelce's the guy, and he's one of the best tight ends in football right now. So it's like how many times is he going to be able to throw the ball to him and that sort of thing. He's got to give his new guys a chance. So it's like. Just by that, I would say first Chargers, second Chiefs, third Broncos, and fourth Raiders.
Beautiful. I'll tell you one thing: their TikTok videos are gonna be on point. It's gonna be insane. You got Juju and you got
Jackson Mahomes.
Yeah, Jackson Mahomes. Yeah, just crazy. Right when they said Juju's going to the Chiefs, I said this is not gonna be good. Not gonna be good. Nah, who do you got?
This division is it's hard to pick. Like you got 4 Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks. QB is the most important position in football, so that's what makes it so hard to pick.
Yeah.
Like long story short, I'd pick not San Diego, Los Angeles. I'd say I got the Chargers. Just on defense too. If you get Derwin back for a full year at safety, they were missing him for most of the year. J.C. Jackson, adding him. They lost Casey Hayward, but you still have their defense still looks really good on paper. They have a chance to be a top 5 defense this year. They have a chance to be a top 5 offense this year. You could say the same thing about Denver though. Kansas City. I don't know if Kansas City will quite be that great on defense, but these are all just elite offenses. There are going to be some amazing matchups. I feel like some of these games, the final score could be like the Browns-Chargers game last year. It was 49-42 or whatever. Like just super high scoring. You have the chance to see that every week, but you also with all these great defenses, you have a chance to see like a defensive battle too. You never know. You could see like a 10-7 game possibly. Just one of those random Sunday night games where it comes down to a field goal at the end. Who knows? But
people are off.
But either way, I mean, long story short, I'd say I'd go Chargers here. A very difficult decision, but
Love it.
Pretty much what I would say is every single one of these division games is must watch. Every single one of these games.
And what do we have? We have is it Raiders and Chargers week 1?
I think so.
I think it's Chargers and
the week 17 game last year.
Yeah.
I think it's Chargers and
The
Raiders.
Chiefs play the Bills week 1.
Yeah.
The Raiders and Chargers. Yep, they do play week 1. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, guys.
Amazing matchups.
All right, guys. There are picks for the regular season going into the playoffs for the NFL season. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, continue to follow the page. Continue to follow the journey. We give God the glory in every video that we do. Matt, thank you for joining us. We're going to try and get Matt out here. Definitely in a different jersey next time, or maybe a helmet. This man's got a crazy helmet collection. Got to check it out. Maybe he starts doing YouTube videos of his helmet collection. So, God bless. We'll catch you on the next video.